Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Realistic 151 project, the series where I redesign each of the original 151 Pokemon using the concepts of stylization and art style to reverse engineer what each of these Pokemon might look like in a realistic style. Since we finished the starters last time, going in Pokedex order, it's an appropriate time to move on and draw Caterpie, Metapod, and Butterfree. A realistic adaptation of Caterpie is relatively easy, not only because the shapes in the original design are simple enough so that it makes for a straightforward translation, but also because a version of Caterpie basically already exists in real life. There is a type of swallowtail caterpillar that basically just looks like a real-life Caterpie, complete with its own weird red head crest antenna thing that in the real-life swallowtail caterpillar is retractable. The swallowtail even has a variant that basically just looks like a shiny version of Caterpie too. Now, that's not quite to say that I just drew a swallowtail caterpillar one for one, as there's a few distinct differences that I wanted to uphold in order to make this design more of its own thing. Although in real life the swallowtail has the same eye markings as Caterpie does, it's apparent that these eye markings are its eyes in the original design, unlike its real life counterpart. So I decided that giving it big bug eyes was more appropriate than putting them down near the pincers where they can be found in real life, and I gave them a scaly fly eye pattern. Other small tweaks were interpreting the ball muzzle on the face as a simplification of a set of mouth parts, and giving both layers a set of small overlapping pincers. I interpreted the red antenna as a more solid and non-retractable part when compared to the real-life swallowtail, as the Caterpie in the games and shows is never shown to be able to retract this part. Designing them almost like antlers with a rubbery, semi-solid outer layer, I added yellow and green discolorations to places where I thought the outer layer would be the thinnest, or where it attaches to the mouth parts to give it a more natural translation. I also gave it more than 2 sets of legs, where I usually would not make such a drastic edit. However, based on its movement in the anime, I decided that it was probably an appropriate addition, as it appears to move like real-life caterpillars, who have 1 set of legs per segment, and not like a normal 4-limbed animal. So here is my adaptation of Caterpie, the worm Pokemon. Moving up the evolution line, Metapod was also a relatively straightforward adaptation with a few real changes. The shape stayed almost exactly the same, but I shortened the side horns to make it more of a streamlined natural shape. I used the texture of some semi-soft green-hued chrysalises and was mindful to shade the exterior almost like a metal texture to get the hard outer casing texture across. The main change was the eye, as I had an idea that the white pupil could be interpreted as a different type of insect eye. When you look at some grasshopper eyes, their individual ommatidium are so small that the eye simply looks darker at a pinprick in the center, no matter which angle you look at it. So I thought that this would be a cool way to represent the simple Metapod eye in a realistic style. Also, it gives the illusion that the Pokemon inside might be a little detached from the real world, as these kinds of eyes sort of have a foggy hue. So here is my interpretation of Metapod, the cocoon Pokemon. The final one is Butterfree, and this design took a little more tweaking than the others. I wanted to interpret the color purple as more of a pearlescent dark color with purple highlights. And though I did technically do that, I didn't use a base color that was dark enough, and it just kind of ended up looking like regular purple fur, which honestly is alright. I interpreted the little hands and dangling feet as similar to how some wasp species will let their legs dangle when they fly, and so I used a more realistic segmented look that you find in these real-life wasps. The mouth parts I interpreted similar to Caterpie, as I saw the button nose of the original as more of a simplification of a more complex shape. The antenna I made blue to match with all of the other appendages, which are also blue, and the eyes I designed after some species of houseflies that have eyes that appear red under certain lighting. The wings were an easy adaptation as they stayed relatively the same, just using the real-life shapes of butterfly wings and giving them the pattern that the original Pokemon has. And so this is my interpretation of Butterfree, the butterfly Pokemon. I'm pretty happy with my versions of these designs, as I feel like they are solid biologically inspired interpretations of the originals. Next we will be attacking the Weedle, Kakuna, and Beedrill line, but until then, thank you for watching. And a special thanks to my patrons STE, Alan Michael White, Vex, R.O. Bolt, and Griffin for your continued support of the Realistic 151 and other projects like it on the channel. If you'd like to join them in their support by getting perks like early access to my videos, then you can do so by following the link in the description and signing up for as little as $3 a month. But as always, that will do it for now. So if you liked this video, then leave a like, and if you want to see more like it, then subscribe, and turn on the bell to get notified when I upload next.